Hello everybody, Crispy Cookers here, and today we're talking about the Florida shooting. Now, it is a very sad event. So on February 14th of this year, a very stupid madman went into a high school campus in, I think it's Broward County, Florida. And he had an AR-15, and he shot and killed 17 innocent people just trying to get an education. Everyone's offering up their thoughts and prayers, but does that help them? No, it still happened, and it's going to continue to happen. We need to find a solution to these shootings, because it's every couple of weeks and every couple of days a mass shooting happens. And I think people don't want to live in fear of being shot anymore. Now, there's a ton of people saying, "Oh, just ban guns, just get rid of guns." That doesn't work. Their counter argument is, yeah, well, look at European countries that don't have guns. Only the police and military have them. Yeah, well, look at all the acid attacks, bombings that happen there. So yeah, there wouldn't be shootings, but if someone has the mindset to kill another person, they'll find a way to do it. There's plenty of ways, and we can't regulate buying pipes and knives. What are you going to do? Not let people, cook? We can't ban cars. People drive cars every day. So what are we going to do? Yeah. But Evan, if you limit the gun control, it'll make it harder for the individual to harm others. We're talking about criminals here. Criminals. They don't care if they break the law by buying a gun. Guns will still be out on the streets. In America, there's more guns than there are people. There's more guns than there are people. Now let that settle in. You really think, even if there was a full-out ban of guns, that they'd all be gone? No, it's not like they just disappear at the touch of a button. They're still out there. And there's going to be people not letting the government take them. And this brings me to my next point. There's already tons of restrictions in place for you to get guns. But Evan, how come all these criminals get guns? That's my question. There's restrictions on mental illness already. You have to pass a background check. So if any criminal record at all is on there, it should show up. The problem is the government agencies are not doing their job. They are getting guns to individuals who legally aren't supposed to have them. This Nicholas Cruz man, it was notified beforehand, a month early, January. The FBI was contacted about this kid, saying that he always talked about killing people and that he was going to be a school shooter and stuff. And there was even a comment on YouTube that he said that, and it was brought to the FBI. And what did the FBI do? Nothing. So before we put in more gun laws, why don't we focus on maintaining the current ones we have? Because in Charleston, South Carolina, that dude, he shouldn't have had a gun either. He shouldn't have been allowed to buy one because the military didn't report to the background check system that he was discharged from the military because of bad reasons. There's no way he should have been sold a gun. He was not legally sold a gun. And back to the point about if we did make guns legal, yeah, I mean, there'd be guns out there, but they'd be more controlled. Yeah, well, wherever there's a demand, there's always a supply. That's why there are a ton of drugs that are illegal. A ton. But are they off the streets? No, they're still on the streets. They're still out there. It's not like them being illegal doesn't stop people from getting them. That's the same case with guns. They could be illegal, but criminals will still get the guns. It'll be only law-abiding citizens that don't have them. Yeah, but Evan, drugs don't kill people. Some do, but that's not the point here. The point is to show that just because something's illegal doesn't mean it's going to stop people from getting it. And wow, my face is very bright. There we go. Now, trust me, we can't just sit around and do nothing. I'll get to my point in a second about the solution of this big problem, because it's obviously a big problem. We can't just have people walking into schools and shooting them up. It has to be a well-planned solution. We can't just come up with a solution right on the spot, because there is no. It's a difficult solution, because we have difficult laws in place that prevent us from finding a clear solution. There's a group, I think it's called like the National Walkout Society or something, but they're planning on having kids walk out of school on, it's either April 20th or March 20th. And it's the dumbest idea I could have thought of. First off, you're protesting gun violence and you're leaving the school. So you're out on the streets where there's no resource officer or any means of safety. Second off, why would you skip school?
School sucks, Evan.
Yeah, well, it's an education. It's an education that Americans get for free unless you go to a private school, but it's still an education. You're walking out on your own money if you go to a private school, by the way, so that's your fault. But if you're going to a public school and you walk out demanding change in the gun policies, it's kind of a snobby American thing to do. I mean, yeah, you're protesting it, right? You get to protest what you got to do. You can protest it. There's no problem with you protesting. It's just the fact that there are girls in the Middle East which they have to sneak to school every day, and they get death threats on a daily basis, and they could get killed just for going to school. There are kids in Africa where if they go to school, they face the threat of civil war breaking up the school and killing them, innocent civilians. You have people all over the world, kids all over the world, who, for them to go to school, they face bomb threats. And we're worried about changing gun laws? I mean, yes, it's a terrible tragedy, but the gun laws will not change a thing. We have gun laws in place. The government just needs to enforce them. That's the problem here. They need to enforce them. And we as citizens need to speak up when we see something that doesn't seem right. Otherwise, how else do you think we're going to stop this? The gun laws literally don't matter, because to criminals, laws do not apply. I don't think people understand that enough. To criminals, laws they mean nothing. To average citizens, yes, they do mean something. But to make gun laws just to satisfy the public, that is just ridiculous. I want to show you a tweet by Madison Giussiotto right here. In a DUI, we blame the driver. In a bombing, we blame the bomber. In a shooting, we blame the gun. How is it the gun's fault? It's the person behind it, obviously. The gun can't do anything to harm anyone without the person behind it. Same thing with any other attack. The car attack, where in North Carolina, I believe, where the dude ran over people in his car. We didn't blame the car, we blamed the person. We're not going to set laws against driving because this dude took a normal car and drove it into a crowd. We need to stop the person. Now, how do we stop the person? That's where a lot of people are trying to figure this out. There's no real easy solution. But here, I'll propose mine. My solution is that we educate the public about these things. We educate them about their mental abilities and mental state. We show the public the warning signs of a killer. We teach the public what to look for, and if you see it, to speak up. Because that's our best bet, safest option. Because these people who kill mass amounts of people, they're around people all the time. And they obviously show signs of problems, as shown by the Florida shooter, Nicholas Cruz. He showed clear warning signs, and it was reported. But the problem was the FBI did not act upon it. That was the big problem. The government needs to act upon it. The citizens need to act upon it. We all need to come together and act upon it. We need to teach the public what to look for, and not just to be... We need to teach the public not to scare the public, but for them to understand and be able to recognize the problems with individuals. Because without knowledge of the public, how would we stop these things? These laws would not apply to these citizens. So there's no other logical way or There's no other logical solution that I see personally to this mess. And it really is a mess, and it's a problem. Also, the public needs to learn that tragedies like this happen, and they can be prevented. And the public is right. We can't just sit around and let this stuff happen to us. We gotta change something, but we have to change it in a logical sense. We can't make a conclusion. You can't just follow someone else's opinion just because they tell you it. You have to come to your own. We have to come to a logical conclusion on how to solve this, because we can't just deal with it all the time. It's not how we should have to live. We shouldn't have to live in fear of being killed every day. We have gun laws in place already. They just need to be enforced upon. Now, I'm not against putting restrictions on non-hunting style weapons, but many news medias are saying the AR-15 is a assault weapon when it's not. It's not a military grade weapon. It's semi-automatic. And there are people who will go out and just shoot it for fun. Having the ability to buy a bump stock and like modify it to make it automatic. Now that should be illegal in my opinion, but once again, I have no problem with limiting the gun rights, but we can't just remove guns altogether, because that simply won't work with the amount of guns in the US. It's sad to see these events unfold. My thoughts are with the victims. I know everyone's saying like the thoughts and prayers don't really help, which they don't, but what can I do? I'm making a video about it to spread awareness to show it. So that's the best I can do right now. It's dumb. We have to see this on a normal basis. It shouldn't be part of life. We need the government to do their part. We need the politicians to do their part. We need the public to do their part. We need the education. Everyone needs to be aware of what's going on and need to be smart about it and understand that there is an ongoing problem and you need to be able to recognize the warning sign. That is all I'm going to do for today. You can subscribe if you want. You can leave a like if you want. If you do not agree, then you can comment your suggestions down below and you can do whatever you want. I don't care. This is just my thought on the whole thing. And I really hope for recovery of those who were injured in the attack. And my thoughts are with the family members who had to deal with this tragedy of their loved ones being taken by a crazy man. This was the Crispy Cooker Show. Peace.